I've just tried the live translate feature with these Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses. This is going to be totally unscripted, so if you're not here for a rambly one, feel free to watch one of my other videos. But I want to talk to you about my experiences using these Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses as a translator for somebody that I know that speaks Spanish but doesn't speak any English at all. And I only understand very minimal Spanish, little words here and there. Often our conversations are a lot of gestures and broken English. I understand certain words and I can translate them into Spanish for her to understand. But there's never any really good, clear dialogue. And I always resort to using Google Translate, or at least I have in the past when we've had to have a conversation or if I've had to explain something a little bit more in detail. And it just so happened that I was wearing my Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses and I realized, of course, this thing has a live translate feature. I opened the app up and then I realized quickly that I hadn't downloaded the translation pack. So that's one thing that you have to do beforehand. It took a few minutes probably. I was using my mobile data. It would be ideal if you're on Wi-Fi, if you know you're going to be going to a location where you're going to need to use it. I would highly recommend setting that up ahead of time. You just go in the app and tap translate, and then it asks you the language that you want to translate to, and I guess it just downloads a bunch of information. I don't know whether that means that it works offline. I'll have to do another video to try that, but I just want to talk to you about my experience using it, how good it was. And there was definitely something that I noticed that was slightly frustrating. Well, a couple of things. So let's get into it. First of all, I think it's really awesome that this feature exists in today's age. I don't want to bash on technology. It's amazing that we even have the opportunity to speak in our native language and have it translate into the other person's language for them to understand. So how does the Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses translate feature work, especially only if you have one person with the glasses? Well, the one person with the glasses sets their language, and then the phone acts as the translator for the other language. And there's a chat log. So I will speak in my language and it will come up in Spanish for them to read. One thing that I realized is that it doesn't automatically read it aloud, so they have to actually be able to see it, and if they need glasses or whatever, it's kind of hard for them to read it as it comes up, and there's a bit of a delay there. But there is a little speaker next to the dialogue, so I can speak in my language and then they can press the little speaker and it will speak back to them, and then they can respond and it naturally understands that they're speaking to me, and then it will translate and put the translation in my ear, and it honestly is very, very good, especially because they're just saying something once and they're not hearing it repeated back to them. The downside of that is they say what they need to say, and of course there's a delay whilst it translates and comes into my ear. So you're left with a moment where you're kind of looking at each other and the information's being fed into your ear. And an issue I found is the fact that I'm so used to speaking to this person in broken, I guess you could say Spanglish, that my responses are in Spanglish. So the translator can't then pick up on it, and then it's kind of a bunch of gibberish. My response is somewhat a mix of English and Spanish, and it can't really work through that. So I have to very consciously actually speak only English and correct English so that they can see the response translated in the correct way. The other thing I noticed is that if there's a lot of dialogue happening, the app sometimes struggles to keep up. So not only is there a delay, it turns a few sentences into a block and tries to translate those. And it's okay if you're the person with the glasses because it kind of comes in feeds, but then you are trying to speak back at the same time or agree, and then it tries to fill in the gaps, but it's a bit of a delay for them. So I found that on my end, it was way easier to understand, but on the other end, it took a while before the kind of app filled out the chat log of what I was saying. So that was kind of interesting to see. And there was a lot of times where conversation didn't flow super well. I mean, once again, I want to reiterate that this is amazing technology. And if you're in a pinch or you're traveling somewhere and you need to get information, I think this is insane. But to have a conversation with somebody that you know quite well, but you can't quite speak the same language, it does make it hard for conversation to flow. I don't think we're at the point now where you can completely have like a close friendship and regular conversations with somebody in a completely different language whilst speaking your own native language. I think we're a while off of that, and maybe that will never happen anyway. I don't know. But that was something that I noticed with the live translate feed with the Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses and Meta AI. And finally, the big one. This is the big one for me. And actually, let's quickly say I only tested Spanish to English. So there might maybe variances and differences between different languages. But these are, of course, two very popular languages for translating. So my information is based off of that. But finally, the biggest problem, have you guessed it yet? My glasses ran out of battery, like very relatively quickly. So this was an incredible tool for a while, but after, let's say, 30 minutes of continuous use, maybe less, I would say probably less, more like 20 minutes of continuous use, these things just ran right down. And they were 100% charged out of the case before I had this conversation. So this is using a lot of the battery in these Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses. Now I think I'm on my second year of owning these, and I've worn them almost every day listening to music and using some of the other features on them and recording video. So I think that it would be logical to think that the battery level has depleted somewhat from its original capacity. I'm not saying that that's good. I think for a pair of $300 tech, the battery should at least be replaceable, which it is not. So that's kind of frustrating because I genuinely love these glasses, and I say that in a lot of my videos. But that is an aspect that I'm starting to realize is starting to get frustrating. If you need to use these for heavy use or practical use other than just sunglasses, battery life is not great. But that should be somewhat helped by the new version of the Oakley Meta smart glasses. If you're curious about those, I made a video that'll be in the description down below. It's the previous video to this one. Go check that out. If you like this video, please subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Have you used the live translation? What do you think about the live translation features? Is it something that you would be interested in, or do you not care about it? I'd be curious about your experience in the comments down below. I think it will help people. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.